Hello, friends! Get ready for another exciting journey as we dive into the most bizarre stories from Reddit. We explore the quirkiest corners of the internet. Grab your popcorn and join us on this adventure. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Let's get started. My wife and I live apart. She works abroad, and I take care of our sons, 4 and 3 years old, and do odd jobs. Initially, we lived together, but our kids ended up in a dangerous situation, and I didn't want that to happen again. Quitting her job was not an option in her eyes, so I moved back to our home country with the kids while she stayed. She visits us a few times a year. We moved in with close family friends. It was a hard and painful decision. I felt a lot of resentment towards my wife for prioritizing her job over our family. But I love her and couldn't imagine being without her. I thought about divorce, but we decided to try to work things out. The other woman was my friend when we were kids. After my mother died, I left my hometown and moved in with my dad and didn't see that friend anymore. But I stayed connected with some other people from that town throughout my life. And when I moved back home with the kids, I started visiting my hometown more often. I visited my mom's grave and saw my old neighbors. When I met my old friend again, I was excited to see her. I'm nostalgic about everything from my childhood, and it started out innocently. I was just happy to have another connection to that part of my life. She has a son, too, who is 6, so we ended up taking our kids to the park together, having coffee and catching up. It was innocent, and I told my wife I had reconnected with her. My wife was fine with it and jokingly asked if she should be jealous, but she didn't mean it. She trusted me, so I feel terrible. We met up a couple of times a month after that. I don't really know when it lost its innocence, but I realized I started becoming infatuated with her. We hugged every time we met up and before we left, and I would feel wistful when she hugged me. She started talking about how her ex mistreated her and her son, and I felt so protective. She started making comments like, "My son is so good with your sons, it's like they are brothers." And I talked to her about some of the issues in my relationship with my wife, and she sympathized. I realized that I enjoyed the attention, and I found myself entertaining fantasies of being with her instead. I kept thinking about how if I had never met my wife and had moved back home and reconnected with my old friend, and we had somehow had our same kids only with each other, we both could have been happy and spared so much pain. Objectively, she is a better match for me than my wife. She puts her kids first. She appreciates me for who I am. My wife does too, but I feel like me and the kids are always an afterthought for her. Even when she's home and spending time with us, she is always thinking about her job. My wife is a good person and does good work, but her job traumatizes her, and she was already traumatized before she started it. She began doing her job to cope with her past, but she also re-traumatizes herself over and over. And my kids and I pay the price. I'm not trying to justify my actions, I'm just trying to explain. My childhood friend always complimented me on my looks, how good of a dad I am, my physical strength. It's like she appreciated the unique things about me. I feel like my wife loved me just because I was there for her. Like she would have loved anyone who loved her, and I was just the one who did. It wasn't always like that, but that's how it started to eventually feel with my wife being so distracted by her job all the time. I didn't notice it until I reconnected with my friend and saw the contrast. I know I shouldn't have let things get that far. At first, it was just an occasional thought, and I brushed it off as intrusive thoughts, telling myself that everyone has inappropriate thoughts. But what matters is your actions. But I let it go too far. In hindsight, some of our friendly banter was more like flirting, and it was inappropriate. That's an action, not a thought. Anyway, today was a reality check. She said she wanted to talk to me about something serious without the kids, so I let my other friend who I live with babysit and met up with her. She basically confronted me, saying that we obviously have feelings for each other and suggested I leave my wife for her, but it was like I immediately realized the amount of nonsense I was feeding myself and her. I instantly felt so bad. I didn't deny having feelings, but maybe I should have. She kept insisting I think it over, and when she saw how upset I was, she said she'd let me think it over and then left. I should have told her, no, there is nothing to think over. I love my wife and I'm not leaving her. But I didn't say anything. That in itself is weighing on me. I need to tell my wife. I know. I just don't even know where to begin. The next time she's coming home is in October. I feel like this is the kind of thing to say face to face, but I don't want to wait that long. And I don't want her to come all this way to have a nice time and ruin it. I could leave the kids with my friends and go visit her. But on top of the money issues and logistical issues, even that thought makes me sick. I keep imagining her smiling and being delighted to see me, and then how devastated she's going to be when I tell her. I can't stop thinking about her face. I feel sick. I don't want to tell her at all and just never see my childhood friend again. I'm also mad at myself for letting my silly fantasies ruin a friendship and a precious memory. But I know it would be wrong to keep seeing her and impossible to just be normal friends now. But I know honesty is the best policy. I owe it to her to be honest. I just don't know what to do. I feel so wrong and stupid. I don't want to tell my friends. I think one of them would be really angry at me for almost cheating, and the other might actually encourage me to leave my wife. I feel like I need someone to tell me what to do because I can't process this.